Hilda needs to learn some honesty. Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with Season 2, Episode 8 of Hilda. And yeah, she's now grounded because she refuses to be honest with her mother. She's making Joanna worry needlessly. And as I kind of pointed out last time, even though Joanna probably wouldn't be super comfortable and okay with the things that Hilda's doing, because obviously she wants her daughter to be safe and everything, she's more upset that Hilda's lying to her. And that was made very clear last time when, like, with her reaction after Hilda came home and lied to her again. She basically, and I'm paraphrasing here because I don't remember the exact wording she used, but she basically said, if only she was, and speaking about Hilda as if, like, she wasn't there, or, like, talking, like, backhandedly to her, if only she were honest with me just this once. And it's like, yeah, that's the bigger issue, I think. The problem is, Hilda loves adventure, she has a good heart, and she wants to do what she feels is right for all these magical creatures. The thing is, this is not new for her. She did this back when they lived in the middle of nowhere. And Joanna knows this. Yet for some reason, Hilda is choosing to lie about it now. Things that she very openly did before. When they lived in the middle of nowhere, she would just go out and do whatever for hours on end. And it was never an issue. Because that's, again, it's the problem is that she's lying. The problem isn't that of what she's doing as much. But again, I don't think Joanna's exactly comfortable with this stuff anyway, but you know. So, I don't know if we're going to get, like, that fully touched on right away, but I feel like with Hilda being grounded, we kind of have to touch on this, at least to some degree, right away. And I made this comparison last week, but it makes me think of what just recently happened in Season 2 of Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. It feels very much like the same kind of concept and idea with what these characters are doing and how they're handling it. There's definitely some slight differences. And I definitely feel that with Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, Adria was definitely being a lot more unfair than Joanna is here. But, you know, the similarity is still there. And I'm curious as to how this is going to end up. And I feel like Hilda's going to sneak out or something. She's very much that kind of character where I feel like she's going to, like, sneak away and get into trouble, probably more trouble than she can handle, and she's going to realize that her mother was, at least to some degree, right. That's my theory. Otherwise, I don't know anything about what to expect. I've talked about this before, but I don't really hear people ever talk about this show. Like, I might see it occasionally mentioned once or twice, but it's like, that's about it. And it I just don't really see people, like, talk about this like they do with the Owl House or Amphibia or even Moon Girl gets a lot more people talking. Hilda kind of flew under the radar, but honestly, for a Netflix show, that's not surprising. A lot of these Netflix animations do fly under the radar because Netflix refuses to, you know, advertise their shit. And I could bitch about Netflix all day, but that's not what we're here for. I think we're just going to get into this episode and see what we have in store this time and see how Hilda handles being grounded. Probably not well. Let's give it a shot and see what see what happens. Hold up just a sec. Before you click that link down in the description below to get to today's video, I want to remind you of all the awesome content we have both on this channel and the Princess of Gaming channel. Let's check it out. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. I love how, I love how I'm talking about, like, when I pause during the reaction. I love how I'm talking about how this is a chill show, even when when it gets going, it doesn't really get that intense. And then this episode just has to prove me wrong by having Hilda see, like, just over half a dozen people die in one go. It's like, okay. And mind you, I think that that episode with the ghost battle thing was a lot more intense, was a lot more like, what the fuck? But still, and even though technically I guess only 3 different people died. Because there were 2 different versions of Hilda, but that's still one person. A few different versions of Mr. Ostenfeld, and I think only one version of Tildy died. So, yeah, that's wild. We're just, like, seeing death just very casually. And I love how, like, Alpha calls it out at the end, even. Because it's just, like, or Alpha, I said Alpha. Isn't that the name of the elf from Disenchantment? No, that's Elfo. I don't know. When you make an elf character have a name that's so similar to elf, like, it's just so hard to remember, like, every single name. Every single variation of that. But yeah. Even though it wasn't as aggressively violent as the other episode, it's still, like, you're having characters still die. And the episode does call it out in the end. Mind you, Alpha only mentions to Hilda that she saw herself die twice. Which, mind you, like, I think that would affect you even more than seeing someone else die. Like, seeing, like, yourself die, like, not just like a vision or something, but an actual physical being twice. Like, I feel like that would kind of fuck you up a little bit. Now, I don't think this show's going to go too heavy into that. I don't think this show is going to, like, really delve into the existentialism of that all. But that's pretty wild. Now, Hilda learning her lesson here about, like, actions having consequences and learning that she shouldn't have been lying to her mother and that she deserves to be grounded here. It did seem a little easy. I mean, I guess it's not really super easy considering what she had to go through in this episode, but it was resolved rather quickly. Let's put it that way. And maybe it's just because of how many episodes Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur took to resolve it, comparatively. I just was worried this would take a longer time, and no, it's resolved the very next episode. But here's the thing. I don't think Joanna should have apologized to Hilda here, because Joanna didn't really do anything wrong. She didn't go overboard. She wasn't too mean or aggressive. She grounded Hilda because Hilda kept lying to her. And it made her worry, and she was scared for her. She didn't do anything aggressive. She didn't hurt her. She didn't, like really raise her voice. She did raise her voice a little bit, but not too terribly. Like, she barely did anything. She had nothing to apologize for, and Hilda did deserve it. This isn't like what happened in Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. For those who don't know, and I guess don't want spoilers at this point, if you're not watching my Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur reactions, maybe skip ahead a little bit because I'm just going to briefly mention it here. This does count as this would be a notable spoiler, so I'm just going to let you go. Skip ahead, like, I don't know, a couple minutes here. Or just, if you want to know just my thoughts on the video and just leave with these afterthoughts, I enjoyed this episode. There's a lot to like about it. I thought the relationship idea is pretty cute, and I hope they come back to that, because there's definitely more they could do with it, but I'll get into more detail with that later. But yeah, if you want to head out now and avoid these spoilers, here's your warning. Okay, we're going to get into these spoilers now. So in Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, in Season 2, Episode 15, the first episode back from the, year-long hiatus, Adria is, she and Lunella kind of have this falling out due to finding out that Lunella has been Moon Girl, but also hiding it from her this entire time. And this falling out at first starts as Adria grounding Lunella, but after the episode and after Lunella basically refuses to stop being Moon Girl and refuses to listen, they just kind of have this intense falling out that lasts for multiple episodes afterwards. And in episode 18, they finally come to a head, and after all of this, Adria realizes that she's not been fair to Lunella. Not because of her worry over her being Moon Girl and being in danger, but because of the way she's been ignoring her, kind of giving her these stink faces, not really, treating her well at all. She's been, really, hurting Lunella with her actions and refusal to, be a good mother in any way, shape, or form. It wasn't her worries in anything. Lunella understood the worries. But Lunella had a very close relationship with her mother, and to have that just suddenly stop hurt the hell out of her. So when Adria and her finally get to talk this through, Adria's apology to Lunella makes sense. Because Adria had been hurting her daughter. She had been doing something that very actively caused her daughter immense emotional pain. But Lunella also apologized for constantly lying about things, for pushing things away, and, for worrying her mother. Because she understood she was hurting her mother too. It was a mutual thing. And they finally came to a head and made up, and everything worked out. But they had to come to those realizations. This is not the same thing here. Hilda was in the wrong. Again, not because of what she did, but because she lied about it. And she was just simply grounded. I don't think Joanna ever said a specific amount of time, but at least for just the day, it's yay? There's nothing wrong with that. It's not that big of a deal. It's not that horrible. Yet Hilda acts like it's the end of the world. I mean, she's a kid, yeah, but it's not that big a deal. And Joanna, is in the car, before she leaves, kind of panicking and crying because she's afraid of the kind of mother she's become. It's ma'am, no. No. You have every right to punish your child when they do something wrong. As long as you don't hit them, or do anything like that, or emotionally abuse them, or really scream at them, that's not okay. As long as you don't do that kind of shit, you're fine. Grounding them for a reasonable amount of time, depending on what they did, yeah. You have to be able to punish your child because you have to be able to teach them right from wrong. You have to be able to explain to them that their actions have consequences. And when they do something bad, they need to understand that it's bad, and punishing them will help them understand. Again, as long as you're not abusive in any way. And that's not what Joanna was doing. Her tears there, like, I get that she's a very loving, very affectionate, very, like, kind mother. And that she doesn't like punishing Hilda. She doesn't like being the kind of mother that, like, she did raise her voice, and she doesn't want to be that kind of mother, I guess. And that's fine, but you didn't really do anything that bad. I don't know. I feel like that was a little bit of an exaggeration. I feel like Joanna was, like, really a little ridiculous there, if I'm being honest. Um, but yeah, no matter what, in the end, Hilda understood that what she did was wrong, understood that her punishment was fair, and agreed to let it happen. She agreed to, like, just let the rest of her grounding happen. Because the thing is, with how, like, clearly upset by the entire thing Joanna was, she probably would have just let it go. She was surprised when Hilda said, like, "Oh, I'm still grounded." She's like, "Oh yeah, I guess you are." It's like she probably would have let it go at that point. Joanna was probably, like, so, for some reason, regretful over that little bit of punishment that she probably would have just let Hilda, go out and play with her friends and do whatever again, as long as she was honest to her. But Hilda accepted her punishment because she understood she was wrong. I'm still interested to see if this does have any kind of psychological effect on her, seeing herself die twice there. That would be wild. Now, the one thing that I feel is weird about this is the ending with Mr. Osterman and Tildy. Neither of them are together with anyone. Why can't they still get together in the modern day? Like, Tildy's only thing there is, like, we can't keep messing with the past. It's like, you're not. You're in the present. If you two get together now, it's not messing with the past anymore. You two can absolutely still get together. Mr. Osterman very, very clearly misses you and regrets not being able to get together with you. And you can tell, like, there's something there for her still as well. There's absolutely no reason they can't get together in the current day. All she would really need to do is, like, go to him and say, "I think you're the guy I danced with that one day, I don't know, 30, 40 years ago or something." However long ago exactly it was. That's all she would need to say. They could rekindle their relationship, and even if it doesn't ending up with them together, they could still be friends. They could still, like, reconnect in some way. It feels so dissatisfying to have this end with just nothing in regards to that. Because, like, outside of Hilda, like, learning a lesson and everything, the entire plot of this episode was surrounding this relationship. And Mr. Osterman trying to change it, Hilda interfering and changing it. It's like, there's no reason why it can't naturally still work. No reason whatsoever. And I mean, it could still happen. I'm not going to count it out yet. But I feel like if it doesn't happen, it's going to be like one of the biggest missteps of this series. And that sounds ridiculous. It sounds like hyperbole. Because it's like, oh, there's like, it's such a small thing. Why would this be one of the biggest missteps? Because one, this series just doesn't have that many missteps. And two, it's because it's such, the episode kind of hinges on it. And the episode feels inconclusive, incomplete, just not satisfying in any way if you leave it like this. It feels like the episode was for nothing. And it feels like a waste. It feels like this plot point meant nothing other than, I guess, to teach Hilda a lesson, but it's like, the lesson it teaches isn't even really that valid. So, because it's like, again, there's no reason that this can't work still. This isn't a lesson about interfering with the past at this point, because that's not what's happening, or what would be happening. And obviously, I just want to make very clear, do not spoil me on whether or not it happens. Do not tell me. I don't want to know ahead of time. I don't care if it does or does not happen in this season, in the movie, in season 3. I don't care. Do not spoil me. I feel like I have to make that clear lately. Just because I ask a question or bring something like that up in a reaction does not mean I want an actual response. When I'm asking questions and stuff in a reaction, a lot of the times I'm, processing thoughts. I'm just sharing my views on an episode and whatnot. Or sometimes, a movie, etc., to be able to process my thoughts and help myself understand what I'm thinking. I don't actually want a response or an answer to this unless I say specifically that I do. If I specifically say, like, you can answer this, or please let me know in the comments, or something like that, then yes, answer me. But if I don't say that, I don't want an answer, because it would probably be spoilers. So, I just ask that you please be careful about that. And if you're unsure, just ask me. Ask me in the comments. It's like, do you want to know about this? And I'll just tell you. I'll just let you know, most likely no. But if it's something that I would care to learn about, then yeah, I'll let you know. But that all being said, I feel like this episode and my thoughts on it, my feelings towards its quality, really do hinge on whether or not this ends up, on whether or not they end up together at some point. Again, do not tell me if it happens or not. I want to wait and see naturally how that happens. So all of that being said, you can tell me what you did think of this episode down in the comments below, and thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.